Welcome back everyone to the channel, and today I want to talk about the news coming out that another Conservative former MP has joined Reform UK. And more than talk about the individual in this case, which is a gentleman called Adam Holloway, I want to talk about the plan that it seems Nigel Farage has for taking over the Parliament and government in 2029 at the latest. But the MP, or former MP I should say, Adam Holloway, who lost his seat in 2024's general election in the constituency of Kent, very narrowly by only a couple of thousand votes, has decided to join Reform UK, and this comes after a string of ex-MPs are joining. Now, a lot of people are criticising Nigel Farage, saying he's basically becoming the Conservative Party 2.0. And amongst that criticism, it's now actually coming from the Labour Party and the Lib Dems, who are attacking Farage, saying that he isn't anti-establishment after all, again, just becoming the Conservative 2.0. Well, I want to talk on this video today on the reasons why I feel I'm pretty confident Farage is doing this and why he actually has very little choice in the matter. But I want to get your opinion, so please comment in the comment section whether you think this is a mistake. Now I'm going to talk through the two options that Farage has. So we're going to imagine in 2029 or possibly earlier, Farage wins an overall majority in government with around 350 MPs. That's what's needed to get over 50%, because we know the other parties are going to group together if this happens to stop Farage passing anything. So Farage is not going to be able to afford any rebellions within his own ranks. So Farage wins, he's now Prime Minister, Richard Tice is the Deputy or the Treasurer, and they have 350 MPs. Now they're going from 5 MPs to 350. That means that at least 60-70% of those new MPs have never been in Parliament. They've probably never even been councillors before. They've no experience whatsoever, which I do agree can be a good thing, not always being in the system. But it's going to be new to all of them. There's going to be plenty of errors made. There's going to be civil servants running rings round them. There's going to be rebellions in the party. And straight away, as Farage takes office, we're going to see the mainstream media attacking Nigel Farage, trying to take him out of government, and the public starting to turn on him. Now, the other option Farage has is he takes on a big sway of these Conservative MPs who lost at the last general election, puts them in their old seats to hopefully win it back, but this time as Reform UK, and he gets a big chunk, let's say an extra 100, 150 former Conservatives or people who've been in politics before. I can't see him coming from any other party. I can't imagine ex-Labour MPs coming over, or Lib Dems for instance, but let's imagine he gets 100, 150 former Tories from this general election, or from the general elections before that, or even former Conservative councillors, just people who've been in and around local and central government. And you mix that with another couple of hundred mixture of Reform UK members who are MPs. There would then be people who we could put in cabinet positions, along with some of the new candidates who Farage knows from his business dealings. Suddenly now you've got people that Farage can put in the cabinet, in the shadow cabinet, who know how to run government. That's the pros to it. Now the negatives would be that under Boris Johnson, under Theresa May, under Richie Sunak, the Conservatives got nothing done. And these are the same people. This gentleman here, Adam Holloway, he was a kind of spin doctor advisor to Boris Johnson. So it is the same people who've not got it done before. Now with Farage's leadership, hopefully that would be different. But the truth of the matter is, I'm afraid Nigel Farage has absolutely no choice. It would be hectic if 350 people with no experience took over government. They would suddenly be sitting above full sections of society. Somebody sat over the NHS, somebody sat over public highways, so on and so on and so on. They would, for one, they would have the civil servants who don't want change running rings round them, and they would unfortunately, just like anyone going into a new job, been making a lot of mistakes. And Nigel Farage and Richard Tice, Lee Anderson would not be able to do all of those jobs. So Farage basically has no choice. Now, this is what I hope, and I'm sure this will be the case. Nigel Farage will only allow in former Tory MPs who share his value. They share the idea of smaller governments making decisions over big governments. They agree with Brexit. They agree with lowering tax. But we have seen the odd Conservative former MP come in who was a Remainer. And a lot of people was upset over that. And all I would say to that was, we are 10 years on from Brexit. I voted Brexit. I was part of UKIP back then. I'm as Brexiteer as the next person. And in an ideal world, I wouldn't want a Remainer in Reform UK. But I guess at some point, enough time's got to pass where a big party with a majority, 350 MPs, possibly more, can't be divided over one single issue as long as the MP that voted Remain showed a track record of the next 10 years of being a Brexiteer, accepting it in 2015, then voting through Brexit in Parliament. If, for instance, they tried to then stop Boris Johnson getting his deal, if you can call it that, through and try and get a second vote, Farage should stay well clear. Ideally, these former Tory MPs, I'd like to see people like Jason Rees-Mogg, Suella Braverman, people like that join Reform UK. Now, 10, 20, 30 years ago, there would have been former Labour MPs who could have joined Reform UK because they was genuinely working class people who was concerned about open borders, was concerned about the workforce here in the UK getting good jobs. But unfortunately, the Labour Party that we see before was now a champagne socialist or radical left. So there's no way we're going to see them joining. But that is only my opinion. Please comment in the comment section, what do you think about Farage and Reform UK taking on these former MPs? And you see, hopefully, where I'm coming from, that 350 new candidates with no experience taking over a government would be an absolute disaster. So although I don't think it's ideal, I can't see any other option that Nigel Farage has. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.